and welcome. This is Amanda, the Nerdy Krafter, and I'm here today with the last Monday of February, and this is for the Make It Simple Monday challenge that we have going on in the Art Impression Way group. And this is part of a challenge that Debbie had put together, and she asked if I would be willing to join, and I said, absolutely, let's have some fun. And so let me show you the cards that I've made for the other Mondays. So here is week 1, week 2, and week 3. And then I used the die set from Trinity Stamps to make this gorgeous little background here. It was a die set from Sassy LLC for her emergency card kits, which I absolutely love for great sentiments. And so for this last one, I'm going a little different. This is not one of my traditional Art Impressions watercoloring lines, but this is the Windows to the World, and this is an old one that I found in my set. And I was like, look, there's a little mailbox in here. So I'm going to do something just a little bit different this month, or this week, I should say. And I challenge you to do the same. I love that on the back here, it gives me a black and white image so I can kind of see the layout, so I can kind of figure out where I want to color items. And then, of course, on the front, a great job of watercoloring this so I can kind of see some hints of where I might want to add my shading. And I will say that a good friend, Irene, from Card Chaos, introduced me to this ink. I love inks. I probably have so many different styles, but trying to find a really good black ink that stamps sentiments very crisply. My go-to one prior to this has been the VersaFine Claire, which I still absolutely love. But what I like about this one is it can work for both alcohol markers and watercolor. So sometimes I just don't know what I'm going to do, if I want to do this in alcohol markers or if I want to do this with my watercolor, and I just want to stamp a lot of stuff really quick and fast so I can take it with me for projects. And this absolutely works for both. I tested it out this past weekend. She told me it worked, but I am a skeptic. So I'm like, I have got to test this myself. So that is exactly what I did. I stamped both on some hammer mill paper, and I had my alcohol markers with me. And then I also stamped on my Canson XL watercolor paper, and it did not disappoint in any way, shape, and or form. I was pleasantly surprised. So if you're looking for a really good sentiment ink and or an ink that will work for both watercoloring and for alcohol markers, I'm going to darken this up just a little bit right here in this area. Like I said, this is a really old stamp, first time using it. So sometimes it needs just a little extra TLC. You don't ever want to press really hard because you don't want to blur the lines. But you do want to have a nice crisp line. Look at that outside sentiment. So beautiful. Leaves a little bit of a texture, which I love with my watercolor paper, that it does have that texture to it. So it does add a little bit of texture. And it just makes me super happy. All right, so I'm going to grab my greens to start with, and I'm going to mimic pretty closely to this. I use a lot of the same color families. So my browns, see, are those both 249s? Those are both 249s. I have 2 of them in here for some reason. Okay, I've got the 177. Always need my 565. And for flowers, and I absolutely love this 346. So I may do my house in that. We will see. Okay, so to start with, I'm going to build my gray. So my gray is 2 strips of my 565 and a half a strip of my 969. I'm going to bring in my 177. And my 249. So we're just going to start with these ones to get me started. And then I'll bring more in as we go. Bring my brush in, get it ready and primed. Get it primed the very first time, get rid of all those air bubbles, and then my water with my brush. And I'm going to start with the 177 first for my trees back here. And I'm just going to come in and lightly tap in some of that. That is the lighter of the two colors. So even though I'm not pulling the colors out of the lines like we typically do with the Art Impressions watercoloring, I can still watercolor the same way, just picking up the color from my palette. And I'm using the same methodology. Quick, simple, and fast. Don't want to overthink it. Don't want to spend too much time on it. Watercoloring is very fluid. It moves a lot with the background. You don't want to overthink it. I'm really good at following rules, and the one thing I loved about watercoloring is that it is whimsical, that you do leave white spots, that you do color outside the lines, and all of those things are part of the rules per se of watercoloring, because my day job is very technical and very analytical, and it's just when I come to watercolor at the end of the day or on my weekend, I just want freedom. I want to relax. I don't want to overthink it. I don't want to be stressed out over it. I just want to have fun. And these stamps make it super easy for me to, not be a quote unquote artist, because I absolutely am not. Please don't ask me to draw a straight line. That is not my gift. Give me an Excel spreadsheet and numbers galore, and I am your girl 100%. But drawing from scratch, yeah, not so much. But can I take these beautiful stamps? Can I take this wonderful ink and quickly make something that is gorgeous, beautiful, and is homemade? Absolutely. And if I can do it, trust me, anybody can do it. Because as I mentioned, I am not an artist in any way, shape, and or form. But I challenge you to pull your stamp sets out. No matter what stamp sets they are, no matter if it's the exact same one that I'm using, and just play. I've heard this a number of times over the years. It's just paper. There is no stress. This is just absolutely fun, calm, relaxing. I'm just going to pull some little brown in here for my fence posts. I'm going to add a little bit of brown to my roof. But I think I'm just going to be just me. It reminds me of little cottage out in the woods, kind of Goldilocks, Three Bears kind of motif here. I'm going to mix in my two blues and brown so I can make that gray scale that I love so much. And then tap it off a lot because I have quite a bit on there. I'm going to use the gray for the roof here. Sometimes I like to start off with the gray for my darker areas, and then when I bring my colors in, I can overlay other colors over it and not have to use too many different colors. So I've got a little sidewalk here. I think our little mailbox. I don't know what it is about a gray mailbox to me, but I absolutely love just a nice gray mailbox. I think all of my mailboxes have been gray. I think so. I guess I've grown up in Arizona, and I think we have so many of the like the big mailboxes where we don't have like, you know, individual mailboxes like for everybody's front door. So I'm so used to just seeing the gray post office boxes that's kind of where my brain goes to. Very cool. All right, for some reason, the 346, I want my house to be that color. I don't know why. That is not a typical color for me, but it is what was speaking to me today. So we're going to go ahead and go in. And do this beautiful turquoise teal house here. And you can see how quickly this image is just coloring up. Like, this does not take much time at all. I'm just going into those darker areas again, just adding a little bit of that darkness in. And bring a little bit of this down into the little leaves down here. Okay, and then for the flowers, I want to do the 636 purple. And I'm just going to come in and tap these colors in. These are really small images, so I don't have to do a lot to make them pop. I'm going to add a purple door here. Fabulous. And then we do have some little windows back here, and they are super small. So I'm just going to come in with the backside of my Tombow. And it's a bright sunny day, so I'm just going to add some yellow in for those windows. And then last but not least, a little bit of the sky here. So we got 526. And usually with my sky, I do a lot more water to it. I kind of like the movement of the clouds with just a lot more water in it. Perfect. Now, basically everything I've gone over at least once at this point has dried. So I can come back in. I can just add in one more layer of darkness for any areas that I think needs a little bit more color. Beautiful. And then a little flag on the mailbox. Add a little heart to it. And then find my twin tone here. And I can darken up any of those areas that need just a little bit of darkening. Sometimes I might lose a line when I'm stamping, or just, I want things to pop a little bit. So I want them to be a little bit more dimensional. So just adding a little bit of that texture in there allows things to move forward or move back on the page. So these little planks here, if I just darken it up a little bit at various, levels, it just gives it that little extra to move. And I'm calling that good. So we've got this. We've got this beautiful card here. I think I'm going to trim this down just a little bit. And before I bring in my paper trimmer, let's go ahead and close up that water. Because this paper is so beautiful that I want to see it just a little bit more. So we're going to trim this down. Let that beautiful cardstock that we have shine through. And let's see, do I have a purple anywhere close by? I do have a little piece of purple here. I think it will match perfectly. So let's pull this and look. Oh yes, that will go gorgeous with this. Okay. Make sure I trim that correctly. And you know what I'm going to do? Do we like it off-centered a little bit? Wipe off my glass board here, or do we like it more even? I think I like it a little more even. Okay, let's go with this. And I'm using my Sweet Petunia glue press here with my Barely Arts glue in here. I'm going to just grab my stamp press and press that down. And or I might grab my block, let that hold on there for just a second. Especially with the textured paper, the watercolor paper, it does have a little bit of texture to it. So sometimes it just needs a second to glue down. For this one, I'm actually going to stand up. I am definitely a team eyeball, but sometimes just standing up helps me feel like I'm laying it up a little bit better. There we go. Just press that down for a second. And voila, we have week 4 of February, Make It Simple Monday, with our gorgeous mailbox set. If you need to look in your collection to see if you have this stamp set also, it's UMM 3177, Windows to the World. Thank you so much for continuing to join us on this amazing adventure. Next month for March, we will be doing bunnies. So dig in your collection, find all your amazing bunnies, and bring them out so you can join along and craft your favorite bunnies. One last look at this month's collection. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you in the chat. Post your beautiful creations and come and make it simple. Take care and have a great day.